This is QTV News. I am Marietu Sidibe and thanks for joining us. First, the main local, business and international news headlines. In local news, President Barrow says the Gambia can learn much from Nigeria's transition from military rule to democracy. We investigate whether poor are people being denied justice due to a lack of resources in the National Legal Aid Agency. In business news, Semlex, the international company recently shut down for non-payment of taxes, resumes operations after paying up. And the trade in illicit pharmaceuticals is big business. We hear about plans to put an end to the trade. In international news, today is World Radio Day. How is the day commemorated? And Algeria, 60 years on. We look at the still bitter fallout from French nuclear test in Algeria in 1960. And now, the local news in detail. President Adama Barrow says the Gambia should learn from Nigeria's success in transitioning from military rule to a vibrant democracy, including through building strong institutions. He made these remarks on meeting participants who trained at the National Defense College in Abuja, Nigeria. Aliu Sise reports.
The participants are part of the COS 28 group currently on a research-based mission in Banjul on the theme Tourism and National Development Experiences of the Gambia. At the State House in Banjul on Monday, President Barrow said a lot could be learned from Nigeria, a country that has succeeded in building a great democracy through building strong institutions.
I think Africa should learn from Nigeria. Gambia have a lot to learn from Nigeria. Nigeria have passed through military rule. But because they build their institutions, that's why today they are enjoying democracy. Because they build their capacity. That's what this institution is doing. I think that's why we have a lot to learn. Because your institution has a very important role to play as far as our democracy is concerned. Security is everybody's business, but you have a very important role to play. That is the military. But how do you do that? You have to build the capacity of men. They have to be educated. They have to know what is their role as far as democracy is concerned.
For the Gambia, the Barrow government's pursuit for the security sector reform includes the establishment of the Minister of Defense, which for the first time operates independently of the head of state and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
This is the first time in the history of this country we have a Minister of Defense. For the first time in the history of this country. Because it is part of our reforms. Part of our reform is to build the capacity of people. Part of our reform is to build strong institutions. Because I believe with strong institutions, it's not the individual that is important. The institution dictates everybody if you get to office. And that is very important, it's key. Nigeria is a big brother. No doubt about that. And we will continue to work with Nigeria.
President Barrow is appreciative of and indebted to President Buhari and the people of Nigeria for their support to the Gambia during and after the 2016 political impasse. As a center of excellence, the National Defense College, which was established in Lagos in 1992 as the highest military institution for the training of senior military officers in Nigeria, now brings together representatives from countries in the West, East, North and Southern Africa. The college moved to its current site in Abuja in 1995. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Sise.
Access to legal services by the poor is limited to criminal offences in the Gambia, and the agency that provides legal assistance for the less privileged lacks sources. Our Mumudu Lamin Choi has been speaking to the National Legal Aid Agency, and he files in this report.
Another legal year has just commenced, and there are still more challenges facing poor people's access to legal assistance before and during trial. The National Agency for Legal Aid, was established to ensure fairness and equality in the settlement of legal disputes for the unprivileged many in society. As courts register more disputes requiring settlement, the cost for the services of lawyers is high, meaning that there is fear that access to quality justice and fair hearings for the underprivileged is at risk. The Executive Secretary for National Agency for Legal Aid says that they are underfunded and resource constrained. Ahmed Kemos Sise, in an interview with QTV, talks about their difficulty in executing their mandate due to inadequate resources.
The vast majority of Gambians are living below what internationally is recognized as a poverty line. So if those people have issues in court, and we know how expensive private lawyers are, they wouldn't be able to afford to pay for their services.
The National Legal Aid Agency only offers services to people facing criminal charges such as rape, murder, robbery, treason, and all cases involving children. Mr. Sise does not rule out the fact that miscarriages of justice can happen without proper legal aid system in the Gambia.
We still do advise both civil and criminal, even if we can't take the case. If somebody comes to us for advice, we give you advice. At least we think that is better than nothing at all.
With a mandate to defend the underprivileged, but with only 7 lawyers working for the agency, representing the accused in civil disputes has become a no-go area for them, with rare exceptions. In a democracy guided by the rule of law, the poor must not suffer unfair trial.
So in other words, you have the police who are trained how to detect, investigate, and prosecute offenders or suspected offenders. You have the Ministry of Justice and its machinery to prosecute people who they believe committed an offense. Of course, when an offense is committed, we agree that it is the best interest of everybody, including the victim, the defendant, and the state, to make sure that the perpetrators, the person who committed that offense, is brought to justice, not somebody is brought to justice at all cost.
Also, according to the 2018 report by the agency, legislation allowing for it to have its own independent budget have not been implemented. However, the Minister of Justice pays salaries of staff and other operational costs of the agency. More money is needed for more staff and services for NALA.
We are just not able to deal with all the cases that we would like to deal with, and we are not able to expedite the cases because we don't have many lawyers to deal with the appeals. We currently have so many clients who have been convicted in the High Court, and they are in prison at the moment. They need lawyers to appeal their cases, but we don't have enough lawyers to deal with these appeals.
The Gambia has an international legal obligation to provide legal representation for its citizens who cannot afford legal services, a right guaranteed in the 1997 Constitution. In the Gambia's National Development Plan, government has promised to address some of the NALA's challenges. This includes building the capacity of staff, improving people's awareness of the institution, and the establishment of a digital recording and management system to improve the agency's work. Mahmoud Lamin Choi for QTV News.
A renovation exercise was recently carried out at Kotu Police and Bakau Police stations by a group of officers from the Netherlands Police Academy in Holland as a part of a foundation called Future for the Young People. Babkar C has the rest of that story.
The 14 police trainees from the Netherlands Police Academy are in Africa for the first time to do some volunteering work as part of their extracurricular activities. Michel van Kothen and Jasper Koos are both volunteers.
I feel me good. I do things for people, and in the Netherlands it's not space to do this. But here, not everyone has a lot of money here, and you can see it's really beautiful what we do. So I like it to do it. Yeah, it's really different. The nature is honest. The people are really different. It's really different in Holland.
It's very different between Holland and Gambia. The people want to work, but the money isn't here, so we thought it will be helpful if we help the people in Gambia to renovate the police station.
At the Bakau police station, the team is renovating the front face of the station and digging a cesspit for the detention cell to be used by detainees. Jimmy Van Trogen says he is excited to be doing something different and unusual.
It's different. We didn't expect we could work at the police station. We thought we work at a school. And the people here are very nice, and the police agents are very nice. They speak to you, they ask you questions. It's very nice over here.
It's like you don't regret doing this job?
No.
The Dutch police students are led by Els van Sluwen, a teacher.
There's those students have one free topic to choose during the education, and one of those topics is this, and it's very interesting for them to see all the culture and other kind of police activities. And the way to see that is to do some voluntary work over here, and then you come in contact with the police in the Gambia, and say they learn how it's different from Holland.
Alaji Saho, a Gambian who has resided in the Netherlands for the past decade, has been partnering with philanthropists to help the poor, the needy and various institutions in the country. According to Mr. Saho, the security sector plays an important role in every country's development, and thus it is important to provide assistance for them to operate effectively. He used the opportunity to call on Gambians living in the diaspora to support the country in whatever they can. He also urged the government to invest in the security sector, especially in terms of salary increments. Mr. Saho says he is planning to bring more volunteers into the country to give community service to Gambians. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
The Students' Union at the University of the Gambia recently embarked on community sensitization in Kiankwinala, Lower River region on irregular migration. Aji Bintu Drame was there and she now reports.
The migration outreach was part of events marking the 2020 Annual Students' Week. The theme, Migration in the Gambia, our role in promoting the reintegration of returnees, focuses mainly on students as they face the real world after graduating from school. Abdoulaye Singate, Project Officer IOM, expresses gratitude for the partnership with the University of the Gambia Students' Union. He adds that the community sensitization was prompted by the recent death by drowning of 62 Gambian migrants trying to get to Europe via the so-called backway. He adds that the incident was alarming and emphasizes the importance of the need to sensitize people from the grassroots.
Union approaching us to make this a school outreach is something that we really cherish, because you people standing here are the people that are going to graduate very soon, and you will be hit by the realities of the world, and these realities when you cannot stand them, you're likely to go and search for other options, and those options will be likely to migrate out of this country.
Satan Dumbuya, the chairperson Students' Week, says returnees face discrimination and challenge the students to nurture an attitudinal change to bring development in the country.
We cannot change anything without changing ourselves. About 60 people, roughly, were involved in this accident, and the nation has lost a huge number of young people who could have contributed immensely and greatly towards the development of our nation. I am a person who believes in traveling, but travel through the right means.
Despite Gambia being one of the smallest countries in Africa, migration plays a hugely significant role in the country. A lot of Gambian youth have taken to the so-called backway, aiming to reach Europe in search of supposedly greener pastures. For many who seek to get Europe this way, they hope to work and remit money back home. According to an IOM estimate, 90,000 Gambians living abroad account for over 20% of the country's GDP. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
We will go with a short commercial break, and when we come back, in business news, we hear what happened to the company forced shutdown for non-payment of taxes. And today is World Radio Day. We hear what this year's theme is and what it seeks to promote. Join us after the break for these stories, sports news, and more.
This is good news. Q City presents the Kids Independence Concert. Celebrate Independence Day in grand style with lots of fun at the exquisite Q City complex. Come and celebrate Independence Day with your friends and family at the Q City complex, Bigelow. Kids Independence Concert featuring Gambia's finest artist, Hussein Dada, Chana Dodo, Sihu Yafa, Kombonka, KS, Gorgorlu, T, and many more. Kids Independence Concert is slated for the 18th day of February 2020 from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Tickets, children $100 is, and adults $200 is. It's the Kids Independence Concert, 18 February 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Q City Bigelow. Let's celebrate Gambia at 55. It's gonna be fun. See you there.
Welcome back. In business news, Semlex pays up and reopens. Multinational firm Semlex has been allowed to resume operations after paying the full tax owed to the Gambia Revenue Authority. According to the country's tax authority, the firm had discussions with the GRA on Tuesday morning where they settled their arrears and are now allowed to operate.
On Monday, the Gambia Revenue Authority took the surprising step of closing down the firm contracted by government to produce the country's national biometric documents. At a press conference following the closure, the GRA boss claimed the firm had refused to pay tax for almost 2 years despite numerous attempts to get them to do so. Going by the media and social media reactions, the closure brought a mixed reaction from Gambians, with many welcoming the move, while others questioned the rationale behind the move, claiming there must be many other businesses apart from Semlex not paying tax. Why was Semlex dealt with in this way? The firm's shutdown didn't last long as they resumed operations the following day, following what the GRA described as Semlex compliance to finally pay what they owe. QTV visited the Revenue Collection headquarters earlier on Thursday and caught up with Head of Corporate Affairs of GRA.
Soon after the press conference that you attended on Monday, they came forward for a discussion and a negotiation, which went through successfully, and they were able to pay the taxes owed to the authority by Tuesday morning, and they were allowed to continue doing business.
Were the taxes paid in full?
Yes, as far as we are concerned for now, whatever they owed based on their self-assessment, they have paid in full. However, we may, not necessarily we will send our tax auditors just to verify that what was submitted is true based on what they're supposed to pay. And if out of the tax audit that will be conducted later, it's realized that they should pay more, then they'll be asked to pay the difference.
Head of Corporate Affairs will not tell us exactly how much was paid by Semlex or how much they owe the GRA in what he described as tax confidentiality, but stressed that the move is not a witch hunt targeting the firm.
I think you will agree with us that Semlex have been operating for 2 good years without paying one dime, single dollar to the GRA. So if we go after them to pay, I mean, it's in order. I'm pretty sure the reason behind it is because Semlex is providing very important services to the government and the people of the Gambia. That is the issuance of national ID and driver's license. So any attempt to close them down will definitely hit the headlines. However, there are other companies that we are dealing with. Maybe it's because they don't have that kind of profile. But in the past, we had closed down the Observer. You are aware of that. We had closed down temporarily the offices of the GIA along Kairaba Avenue. We have Ghani's public institutions accounts here in the likes of NAWEC and others. So we are enforcing. Our business is to see every establishment comply with the tax laws of this country.
So use the opportunity to call on everyone doing business in the Gambia to be tax compliant, adding that the country's main source of income is from the taxes collected, which is why the institution is encouraging everyone to comply. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
Clamping down on the big business of illegal pharmaceuticals. The Gambia Revenue Authority, in collaboration with regional liaison intelligence officers of West and Central Africa, ended a 10-day forum to combat the trade in illicit or irregular pharmaceutical products. Muhammadu Gajaga attended the closing ceremony.
Africa's porous borders, criminal syndicates are strategic in trading both illicit and counterfeit drugs, using the many loopholes as escape routes. In order to combat this menace, intelligence and custom officers from several West and Central African countries gathered in Banjul to look at measures to fight this criminal activity. In the Gambia, 21 seizures of illicit and counterfeit drugs were recently made by custom officers, with cocaine allegedly detected on the waist and hands of a Guinea-Bissau national. Biram Sedikan, Director of Regional Liaison Intelligence Office, West Africa, speaking through an interpreter, says more coordination is needed to win the fight against fake drugs.
C'est une condition essentielle pour accroître l'efficacité et la lutte contre tous ces trafics.
Therefore, be Mr. Commissioner General, our defender to the meetings of all managing directors of customs to help us attain what we want so that this operation will help to combat the mafia in this region.
While countries such as Gambia, Senegal, Mali and Burkina Faso had significant progress, others are still lagging behind. Guinea-Conakry and Nigeria are among the list of countries that registered the smallest seizures. Etienne Sama II, Principal Inspector with the Regional Customs Bureau, explains.
Et la Guinée, le Libéria et la Guinée qui viennent avec 3 saisies.
He expresses disappointment for Nigeria coming last with only 1 seizure, and Guinea-Conakry and which one? And Liberia that are coming with only 3 seizures.
Despite the Gambia's porous borders, with support by regional partners, are expected to make more progress in the fight against the spread of counterfeit drugs, which pose a danger to public health.
In these industries continue to thrive, and the cartels continue to profit on our vulnerable populations. To this end, customs play an indispensable role in the interception and disruptions of the nefarious enterprises, in the smuggling and the legitimate trade in counterfeit, inferior or quality of product for our populations.
One of the participants in the forum, Ndeye Sira Loum, a senior customs officer at the Gambia Revenue Authority, described the event as a success.
Combating illicit trade is a very important aspect of customs. We've also learned how to use the CENCOM, that is a WCO tool, the World Customs Organization tool, as to how to enter these seizures that are seized from within West and Central Africa. Within these 10 days, we have used the applications, and Gambia, we have entered seizures that we are seized from our borders.
It is estimated that 5% of the world trade in branded goods is counterfeit, leading to huge financial losses for pharmaceutical industries. But much more important from a public health point of view is that history has shown that such products can lead to great health risk and even death. Muhammadu Gajaga, QTV News.
In international news, today is World Radio Day. Proclaimed in 2011 by the member states of UNESCO and adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2012 as an international day, February 13 became World Radio Day. On World Radio Day 2020, UNESCO calls on radio stations to uphold diversity both in their newsrooms and on the airwaves. This edition of WRD is divided into 3 main sub-themes: advocating for pluralism in radio, including a mix of public, private and community broadcasters; encouraging representation in the newsroom with themes comprised of diverse society groups; promoting a diversity of editorial content and program types reflecting the variety of the audiences. Here is a short video about the day.
I am both unique and multifaceted.
I can both inspire and divide.
I resemble you
And unite you. I highlight difference
and am enriched by you all. I am of all colors and cultures,
visible
as well as invisible. I am a bond between you.
I am diversity. I am radio.
We are diversity.
We are radio.
On this World Radio Day, UNESCO and your local radio station are committed to ensuring that diversity is always at the heart of radio. For more information, www.worldradioday.org.
60th anniversary of French nuclear test in Algeria. Decades after the first French nuclear test in Algeria, thousands of victims are still waiting for compensation from the government. As they age, they ask why France is dragging its feet over the issue. That first test took place 60 years ago today, on 13th February 1960. In sports, my colleague Aliou Cisse is here with some sporting stories. Aliou, what do you have for us today?
Thank you very much, Mariatu. We're starting with women football because after the Gambia was eliminated for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers by Burkina Faso, the WAFU team is now winding up preparations for the WAFU tournament in Freetown to be hosted in the cities of Bo and Makeni. The Gambia is in Group B together with Guinea-Bissau, Liberia and Mali. In Group A, you have Sierra Leone, the host, Cape Verde, Guinea-Conakry and Senegal. And according to head coach Mariam Bamsou, the team is prepared to go all the way to the finals. And now we head to Manchester United because Manchester United's new signing, Odion Ighalo, has been banned from the United's training ground over fears of the coronavirus. Actually, Ighalo arrived at Old Trafford from China on a loan where the virus broke out. The club has also decided against taking the striker on their winter break training camp in Spain because of concerns he may have difficulty getting back into the UK. According to the BBC Sport, Ighalo has been training with support from the team using a personalized fitness program to get him ready for the Chelsea game next Monday. And finally, in an embarrassing episode, Premier League referees Andy Matley and David Coote have failed the fitness test to become members of the FIFA international list. The two will now be given chance to retake the test, and sources have indicated they were suffering from cold and flu symptoms and not operating at their peak during the exam. So quite interesting story they're having, Premier League referees failing test. Well, Mariatu, that's all we have for the sports news today. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Before we end this bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. In local news, President Barrow says the Gambia can learn much from Nigeria's transition from military rule to democracy. We investigated whether poor are people being denied justice due to a lack of resources in the National Legal Aid Agency. In business news, Semlex, the international company recently shut down for non-payment of taxes, has resumed operations after paying up. And the trade in illicit pharmaceuticals is big business. We heard about plans to put an end to the trade. In international news, today is World Radio Day. How is the day commemorated? And Algeria, 60 years on. We looked back at the still bitter fallout from French nuclear tests in Algeria in 1960. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Thank you for watching.